Welcome to the Becoming Unfuckwithable 5-day challenge. I'm Tanya, your host and owner of Tanya Whittle Inc. I wanted to host this challenge because, well, it's fun to say, but ultimately I really wanted to host it because I believe that especially as the world is sort of coming back online from the pandemic, there's so much happening. For so many of us, we've been putting kind of holding mode or shutdown mode for quite a long time. And as we're really stepping out there, many of us have been really cocooned from an external world to an extent. When I think about what it means to be unfuckwithable, it means that as we're really starting to step into this world, we're going to start finding challenges, triggers, all kinds of things that we don't want to do, or returning to a life that maybe we didn't really love, and figuring out what aspects we actually want to return to is extremely important. A number of years ago, when I started this work, I thought that I was unfuckwithable. I've been really doing a lot of deep work, and I stepped out to share my work and what I'd learned and what was kind of happening and the things that I was creating to really help people live, right? To fully live. That's what this work is about. This is what it's all about. It's about truly fully living and embracing life, not just merely existing and going through the motions and getting by, but truly living. As I did, I started to realize that I was too open, right? There's such a thing as being too open. I was letting down walls, and in letting down those walls, I didn't really take up my shield. And we need shields. We need to let the right people in, keep the wrong people out. I wasn't doing that. And what ended up happening essentially is that all of what I was letting in. So I had this big, beautiful gift, which you may acknowledge and recognize within your own world, that you have this beautiful thing that you really want to do. Maybe it's your art or in your job or career, something inside of you that at some point in time you shared. And in the sharing of that, or in the opening of ourselves, we let people in that we think are like us. We think that people, want the same things that we do, or they will treat us and behave the same way that we do. And then we find that when we let too many people in, we drown. And what I discovered in that journey of having to climb out of the ditch, right? I had to climb out of the ditch. And as I was getting out of that ditch, I started to realize it's really not about what people do or say. It's about how that impacts me. So what I started to realize is that when people fuck with us and they're able to fuck with us, it has less to do with them and more to do with something unhealed within us. So that was where I started to coin the phrase unfuckwithable. That was the journey for me. And, that was what ultimately the rest of it became, was that as I started to really move forward, I started to deeply heal some of those conditions, long-standing women wounds, conditioning, belief systems, insecurities, doubt, fear, all of these things that ultimately really allowed people to access me and access my energy. And I started to ask myself, just because someone doesn't believe in me, the real question is, why didn't I believe in myself? The second question is, why did I even go to people to validate myself? And the third one was, and I went to people to validate myself who absolutely, in some inherent way, I knew were actually not going to validate me, but were going to destroy me. So unfuckwithable is about what is going on inside of us, inside of your own system, that allows people to access your energy and destroy the good things in your life. Because it's really easy. What we want to do is we want to point the finger out there and say, she, he, they did this, but what's pointing back, right? So the question becomes not that what they did was okay, and we don't condone, some of these behaviors where people manipulate you or people love to stab your balloon just when you get it blown up. The real question becomes is, why don't we know? Why don't we listen to what we know, or go inside for those answers and validate ourselves? Why is believing in ourselves such a ridiculous concept at times? And why do we put so much weight in other people's opinions and society's external functionings than our own deep belief in ourselves? The answer, of course, is because we've never really been taught it. So the first part becomes identifying the areas in your life in which you are fuckwithable. What are the areas that you care too much about what people think? What are the dreams that you're not following through on because there's fear or doubt or uncertainty? Where in your life have people hurt you that's closed you off to trust? Where have you had big and incredible doubts? those are some of the first things that we're going to identify, because I always say that in order for you to know where you're going, you've got to know where you are. So we have to know where those wounds are in order for you to realize what is poking those wounds. And oftentimes we think that when someone comes in to hurt us, we get all upset and angry and how could they, when in reality, when we get triggered, or as I like to say, when your trauma trigger gets popped, then what ends up happening is it's one of the greatest gifts that we can actually walk into that frustration, that pain, that uncertainty, and say, where am I not free? Because that's what I realized that becoming unfuckwithable is ultimately about, is about our own freedom from expectations, beliefs, conditions that do not serve us and that ultimately hold us back from being who we really are and being able to put our incredible gifts and work into the world and being able to live fully, in the life that we really want to live, because everything that we know and feel starts to come from within ourselves and not in seeking validation, certainly in places that cannot give it to us. So I'll tell you more about the exact incident that happened that threw me off my game in 2017. And that took me an incredible amount of time to actually crawl out of and to really understand what happened and how this became born from it. So I'll tell you that in another day. So you have to make sure that you keep coming back for the lessons. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to download the document that's included. I want you to spend a little bit of time answering those questions for yourself. Then I want you to come into the Facebook group. I want you to find the post and I want you to share. I'm going to be announcing some really fun, cool prizes for you during this. So you're going to want to participate. You're going to want to answer those questions because we're going to have a lot of fun doing the things. And so the first part is becoming aware of where you're fuckwithable. And then the last 4 days of this challenge will be about how we actually address those things and get into our power and get into our energy so that we truly become unfuckwithable. So I will see you tomorrow and I will see you in the Facebook group. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about where you are identifying that you